Long before the first city rose, long before the first word was spoken, humanity already existed. Not as farmers, not as rulers, but as wanderers, creatures of instinct, wrapped in curiosity, crossing a world that did not yet belong to anyone. The earth was vast then. Untamed, unpredictable volcanoes breathed fire into the sky. Rivers carved their paths with thunder. Forests whispered warnings through the wind. And somewhere in that ancient world walked the earliest members of our story, their hands rough, their steps steady, their minds awakening. They didn't know it yet, but the choices they made in silence would ripple forward for hundreds of thousands of years until it reached you. Fire was not an invention. It was an adoption, a fragile spark stolen from nature and carried carefully in dried leaves and hollowed wood. To early humans, fire was not just warmth. It was a gathering place, a boundary between fear and safety, a circle of light in a world ruled by darkness. Anthropologists believe that these circles of fire were the birthplace of human imagination. It was here, under flickering flames, that humans learned to share stories, dreams, plans, and warnings. Fire made us more than survivors. It made us thinkers. At some point, humans stopped reacting and started questioning. They wondered where the moon went when it disappeared. They wondered why water flowed, but rocks did not. They wondered what lived beyond the trees and what waded past the mountains. Curiosity became our first compass, and slowly the human mind stretched beyond survival toward meaning. Early humans began to observe patterns, the movement of herds, the return of seasons, the shape of clouds that warned of rain. Knowledge was not written, but carried in memories, passed down through whispers, gestures, and imitation. The mind was evolving, not just to survive the world, but to understand it. Survival was never guaranteed. The earth changed constantly, drying, freezing, shifting, erupting. Early humans adapted not through strength, but through creativity. They learned which plants healed, which paths were safe, which stones could be shaped into tools sharp enough to change their fate. Every tool they made was a memory you could hold in your hand, a message from one generation to the next. This is how you shape the world. Then came the greatest journey humanity ever made. For reasons still debated, climate shifts, curiosity, scarcity, or simply restlessness, early humans left Africa. They walked farther than any creature had walked before, across deserts that burned, mountains that froze, forests that swallowed the light. Some groups turned west, some north. Some followed coastlines further east until the world itself began to feel small. Wherever they walked, they carried fire, tools, memories, and a hunger for the unknown that still lives in us today. The world they entered was harsh. Ice ages carved the planet into new shapes. Glaciers moved like slow giants, reshaping valleys and coastlines, but humans learned to adapt, creating shelters from bone and hide, crafting clothing for warmth, tracking animals across frozen ground. Cold tested them, but it also shaped them. Art is older than writing, older than farming, older than cities. In the darkness of caves, humans left marks, handprints, animals, symbols. Not for decoration, but for remembrance. These paintings whispered messages across time. We were here. We saw the world. We felt something worth sharing. Over time, humans learned something extraordinary: to plan ahead. Fire was controlled, food was stored, shelters became seasonal homes, animals and plants were observed, their cycles, their habits, their potential. The mind became less reactive and more strategic. Villages formed slowly, not overnight but over generations. Small groups settled near water, built shelters close to one another, shared resources, shared duties, shared stories. Community became a survival strategy, and rituals, songs, marks, gatherings became the glue that held people together. Humans were no longer just individuals, they were something bigger. Agriculture changed everything. With seeds came stability. With stability came population. With population came complexity. Roles appeared. Trades emerged. Knowledge accumulated. Humanity was no longer shaped by the land alone. We began shaping the land itself. Every species that walked beside us is gone. Neanderthals, Denisovans, dozens more. Why did we survive? Not strength, not speed, not numbers. We survived because of connection, because we learned to rely on one another, to think together, to imagine together, to build futures together. This, our ability to unite, is the oldest technology we have. The story of early humans is not a story about the past. It is a mirror. Every dream you chase, every question you ask, every journey you take is a continuation of a fire that began hundreds of thousands of years ago. We are still the wanderers, still the storytellers, still the species that looks at the unknown and takes a step forward. The fire has never died. It simply moved from their hands into our hearts.